In a stunning courtroom showdown, a federal judge has thrown a wrench into the Trump administration's audacious plan to slash nearly 90% of the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau's workforce. U.S. District Judge Amy Berman Jackson issued a temporary order on Friday, halting the mass layoffs and preserving employees' access to agency systems as she probes whether the administration's actions defy her earlier rulings. This high-stakes legal battle, unfolding in Washington, D.C., has thrust the future of the CFPB, a cornerstone of consumer financial protection, into the national spotlight. The drama began when the National Treasury Employees Union, alongside consumer advocacy groups, sounded the alarm in a Thursday filing, warning that the Trump administration was poised to fire approximately 1,483 CFPB employees, nearly the entire agency. The union accused the administration of orchestrating a covert operation to dismantle the CFPB, a watchdog agency established in 2011 under the Dodd-Frank Act to shield Americans from predatory financial practices in the wake of the 2008 financial crisis. The filing claimed the layoffs were set to proceed with such speed and secrecy that employees would lose access to agency computers by Friday evening, leaving the plaintiffs little time to seek judicial intervention. Judge Jackson, a seasoned jurist appointed by former President Barack Obama, was unequivocal in her response. "It's not going to happen in the meantime," she declared during the Friday hearing. "We're not going to disperse 1,483 people into the universe and have them be unable to communicate with the agency anymore until we have determined whether that is lawful or not." Her order ensures that the CFPB's workforce remains intact and operational, at least until a follow-up hearing scheduled for April 28, when she will delve deeper into the administration's motives and methods. The roots of this conflict trace back to February, when acting CFPB Director Russell Vought, a key figure in the Trump administration's push to streamline federal agencies, ordered a near-total work stoppage at the CFPB. Vought, who also serves as White House Budget Director, shuttered the agency's headquarters, fired probationary and term employees, and signaled plans for sweeping layoffs. These actions prompted an immediate lawsuit from the union and advocacy groups, who argued that the administration was unlawfully attempting to dissolve and dismantle the CFPB, an agency created by Congress to regulate everything from mortgages to credit cards. In mid-February, Judge Jackson issued a temporary injunction, barring the administration from firing CFPB staff without cause or initiating a reduction in force. She also prohibited the deletion of agency data, citing concerns raised by former CFPB chief technologist Erie Meyer, who warned that critical consumer complaint databases were at risk of being erased. The injunction was a lifeline for the agency, allowing some work to resume, but tensions escalated as evidence mounted that the administration was still plotting mass layoffs. Friday's hearing revealed a stark divide between the administration's claims and the plaintiffs' allegations. Mark Paoletta, the CFPB's chief legal officer, submitted a sworn declaration asserting that the agency had conducted a meticulous, line-by-line review of its business units to justify the layoffs. Paoletta argued that a leaner, 200-person agency would better align with the administration's priorities while still fulfilling the CFPB's statutory duties. An approximately 200-person agency allows the Bureau to fulfill its statutory duties and better aligns with the new leadership's priorities and management philosophy, he wrote. But the plaintiffs painted a far more chaotic picture. Deepak Gupta, the attorney representing the union and advocacy groups, accused the administration of rushing the layoffs to evade judicial scrutiny. They were trying to keep this under wraps so the plaintiffs would not be able to come to the court in an orderly fashion, Gupta charged. A CFPB employee, identified only as Alex Doe, provided a chilling account in a court declaration, alleging that the layoffs were orchestrated by Gavin Kliger, a member of Elon Musk's controversial Department of Government Efficiency, DOGE. According to Doe, Kliger subjected staff to a grueling 36-hour work marathon to ensure layoff notices were issued on April 17, berating employees he deemed too slow and calling them incompetent. The union's filings further alleged that the layoffs were so broad and haphazard that entire offices, including those mandated by law, were slated for elimination or reduction to a single employee. "That is not an unfamiliar position for the court to be in," Judge Jackson remarked, noting the administration's pattern of bold moves followed by questionable justifications. She emphasized that only sworn testimony at the upcoming April 28 hearing would clarify whether the administration's actions complied with her orders or constituted a brazen attempt to gut the agency. Complicating matters, an appeals court partially paused Jackson's earlier injunction, allowing the administration some leeway but still requiring a particularized assessment to justify any layoffs. The union argues that no such assessment occurred, pointing to the breakneck pace and sweeping scope of the planned firings. The plaintiffs are also expected to demand internal CFPB documents to shed light on how the layoffs were planned and whether they align with the agency's legal obligations. The stakes are high for the CFPB's 1,700 employees and the millions of Americans who rely on its oversight.